Hi, everybody. My name is Nanika Edwards. I'm a poet, artist, author, educator, linguist from Trinidad and Tobago in the Southern Caribbean. This week, I am sharing a series of poetry based videos that offer advice about romantic relationships for people who are single and people who are married. I'm sure you would be able to find value in the information perspectives that I plan on sharing. And in this video, I'd like to share the poem Teahouse Romance. Now, I have to admit, I haven't thought this one through very carefully, but it's a poem that I like a lot. I think it's one of my better poems, and it's very lyrical. It was written in Japan. When I lived in Japan, a lot of the poems that I wrote a lot of the poems that I wrote in Japan, and even on my way to Japan, when I was on the plane on my way to Japan, writing poems on the plane, they took on a very Oriental feel. They had that kind of Oriental lyricism and beauty to them. So, like, Tea House Romance was one that I wrote. I wrote it actually as part of an application to Hallmark. I wanted to become a Hallmark writer, and I wanted to be a Hallmark poet, and I wrote this as part of my application. And well, I never heard from them. I don't think I ever got a response, and I was kind of disappointed. But the silver lining to all of this was that I had a new beautiful poem to add to my collection. So, without further ado, let me share with you my poem, Tea House Romance.
Tea house romance, painted porcelain and a sweet jasmine tea, the fragrance of friendship deeply serene. You flower my soul like the blossoms of spring. With you, the cherry trees budding sing of love that streams like dawn's gold sprays, with perfumed poetry that lightly says, let's walk this way, let's walk this way. A tea house graced with silky scrolls, where temple tranquility sweetly knows the peace that shimmers warm with you, as soft as petals kissed with dew that spread a floral waterway, whose streaming beauties blushing say, be mine, I pray, be mine, I pray, be mine, I pray.
Okay, how did you feel about that poem? What images did it conjure up in your mind? And what are your thoughts on that poem? Okay. Um, Now obviously this poem is written from the perspective of the guy. It's a guy basically he's either asking a lady to be his love interest so that they can start dating, or maybe they're going to the next level. Like maybe he's gonna ask her to marry him. It's one or the other, right? And so it's from the perspective of the guy. And it's very romantic, very lyrical, very sweet. Um, and I felt like this was be a good poem to share during this week. But to be honest, I'm not sure what lesson to pull out of it, except to say that if any guy were to if any guy were to sweet talk a lady in this way, oh my gosh, she would absolutely melt, I think, unless she was made of like brick or stone or wood or metal or something like that. Because women, we fall in love with our ears. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. Oh my gosh, what is it called? It was with Steve Martin. I saw it when I think when I was a teenager. Let me see, I'm gonna look it up here. Movies with Steve Martin. It was really funny, of course. um, what was it called? It was a romantic comedy. It was oh, what was it called? It was let me see, I'm gonna find it, man. Ooh, why is it not here? I know I've seen it. Hmm, let me see. It was, oh my gosh, it was a movie about him. It was a romantic spin on, I think, Count de Bergerac or something like that. I'm probably getting that wrong. I'm always kind of malproposizing or whatever that word is, things. Can't even get the word right. But anyway, whatever it is. It was a movie where he had a really long nose and he fell in love with this woman. And anyway, the whole point of the movie is that the lady, his love interest, was really interested in a guy who was really good looking, like better looking than the character that Steve Martin was portraying. And but that guy was not as smart as Steve Martin. And but Steve Martin was like was almost the guy, the good looking guy almost acted like a ventriloquist, and Steve Martin used to tell him exactly what to say so that the girl who liked him would fall in love with him, the guy who was not as smart as Steve Martin, right? And the guy who so yeah, so long story short is the guy who was not so good looking was used, allowed, um how to put it, Steve Martin was more intelligent than the guy who was not good looking. But Steve Martin was secretly in love with the lady who was in love with the good looking guy. So it's like a love triangle, right? And the good looking guy was not in love with that lady, he was in love with somebody else, right? I think. No, it wasn't that. He was in love with the good looking lady. But anyway, long story short, the moral of that movie was that the lady ultimately fell in love with Steve Martin's character because turned out he was a sweet talker who could have given Cupid's he was a sweet talker who could have given Cupid a run for his money, right? So point is, women fall in love with their heirs. That's all I'm trying to say. So Teahouse Romance is like a perfect example of the kind of beautiful language that can absolutely make a woman fall for a guy. So like if you're a single guy and there's a lady that you're interested in, but you feel like I remember by the way, in that movie with Steve Martin, I remember one at one point in the movie, and this was hilarious. This was a hilarious part of the movie. The good-looking guy was in the bush, in some bushes, kind of uh talking to his love interest, like kind of like Romeo talking to Juliet kind of thing. And and Steve Martin, I think, was in the bushes, well hidden, telling the guy what to say. And at one point, he misunderstood what Steve Martin said. And he told the girl that her breasts were like pillows and he wanted to fluff her pillows. And the girl was like, what? What are you saying? So it was kind of funny. But anyway, point is, if don't just tell a lady, gosh, you're hot, or my God, I like this about you, and start talking about her different, start complimenting different parts of her anatomy. I mean, that is not the kind of thing you want to be telling a lady if you want to attract a classy lady. So something like poetry could be really a lovely thing to use. Like if you write poetry, so ladies fall in love with their airs, whether it's that you say something to them verbally or you write something that they replay in their head, that they hear in their head, right? So if you're a guy and you're pretty good with the gab, this could work for you. If you're not, don't despair. You can find some beautiful poetry and read it to the person that you're interested in. You don't have to read it perfectly. Just the fact that you make an effort, I think any lady would be happy with and would probably find very cute. Even if you get it wrong, chances are the lady would think it's very cute, right? So that's something you can do. You can find some classic poetry, or you can look for modern poetry, like my poetry, and you can, share it with your love interest. Of course, it'd be really nice if you buy one of my books. That would be wonderful. I would appreciate that. But you can either write your own poetry, which would be really, really special, or you can find poetry that says exactly what you want to say and share that with your love interest. So I guess this poem is really more for guys, whether you're single or married. This is something that you can do if you're married as well, like surprise your wife with a poem, or read her a lovely poem, surprise her, send her a text message, send her something on WhatsApp or wherever you however you communicate during the day. Send her, it could be a 4-line poem or something, and just totally romance her. Of course, if you're married, then getting a little saucy is fine. Getting a little putting a little pepper in your poetry is fine. But if you want to just romance the lady in your life, then just like with this poem, just beautiful language will probably set her soul on fire, I'm telling you. So that's it. Teahouse romance. Tell me what you think, ladies. Have you ever had the experience of a guy writing a poem for you, or reciting a poem for you, or saying something really, really super romantic that just made your heart go all aflutter? Tell me what that was. Would you be willing to share some of that with us? And guys, what have you used? What lines have you used that you think have worked with women? I know in some of my poems, for some of my poems, I've had guys tell me, oh my gosh, those are some serious lyrics. I think I can use them on a lady, They said those are lyrics a guy could use on a lady, because of course I write my poems from all kinds of different perspectives, from a guy's perspective, a lady's perspective, a child's perspective, an animal's perspective. I write from all kinds of different perspectives, right? So you could, a guy could easily find some serious lyrics that he could use on a love interest in some of my poems. So I think that's it. That's Teahouse romance. It's really beautiful, really lyrical, talking about cherry blossoms and jasmine tea and things that somebody from an Asian culture, Oriental culture, East Asian culture would really be able to relate to. And again, this poem is in my book Romantic, which is available on Amazon. I hope you found this useful and interesting. And for guys out there, wondering how to make a lady swoon, try poetry. Try poetry. Anyway, that's it for now. Until next time, I hope this series was useful and interesting for you. Please let me know if it was. And that's it for now. Until next time.